Hey everybody, this is James. Just a real, well, what I think will be a real quick video with all the EVPs and a few video clips from the Parker House investigation. If you want to see the full video, just go to the channel page. We've got the Parker House investigation, and of course, What the Paranormal has their video on the investigation, and also their EVPs and the clips that they got on their audio. This is just a few things, a few little notable parts. Picture-wise, I didn't really get a whole lot. I didn't take a whole lot of pictures in this one. The only one of any note was there in the front room of the Parker house. I'm not a big orb guy, so you kind of take that for what it's worth. Now the orbs we got in Concho, those were really good, and you could tell. Sometimes you can just tell the difference. I think 95% of the pictures out there that people think are orbs is just dust. This might go either way. I don't know. But like I say, you can look at it and decide for yourself if those are orbs or dust. Now, we didn't really get a whole lot visually on video, but we did pick up a lot on the audio part. I got a few things on the voice recorder. After going back over some of it, there's some of that stuff on the voice recorder I decided to cut out because they were doing a little bit of work around the house. I think I determined there was one, I thought it sounded like somebody yelling hey, and I think I determined that actually was somebody yelling hey outside. But we still got, it looks like it's about half and half. It's about 6 video clips and 6 audio clips. We'll get to it. This first one is a video clip. As we first went into the Parker house, we're going down that hallway. I had walked into some of those fake spider webs that they have. First, they use it as a haunted house once a year, for Halloween. And I had walked into some of those fake spider webs, and you'll kind of hear me grunt. And then this is actually somebody saying, "Hey." You just kind of hear a voice say, "Hey." And then there's you may think it's me. I swear to you, I have never made that noise in my life. There's kind of I think it's like a mixture of me and maybe me kind of talking over something else that's there, and I'll run the actual sound like 3 times after. Something on my elbow, either a hair or a spider web or a fake spider web or something. Something on my elbow. Something on my elbow. Something on my elbow. All right, this second one is when we first went into the sanitarium, which that's actually a building they built. They had a lot of stuff in there that was donated from other places. They had stuff from the Baker Hotel and Mineral Wells and other places that were known to be haunted. And this is right after we first walked in. You'll hear me ask a question to Amy, and it's the best way I can describe it. It's almost got a military sound to it, like somebody saying something and then a group responding. I guess what might be a better example that most people will have experienced is when you were in high school, and like where the high school I went to is, like the cheerleader would yell, "Who you rooting for?" and the crowd or the student body or the crowd would chant NHS. That kind of thing. You hear somebody say something, and then Amy talks in between, and then there's it almost sounds like a group response. And maybe you'll figure out what I'm talking about if you just listen. So this was the sanitarium?
Yeah, this is the sanitarium. Yeah, this is the sanitarium. Yeah, this is the sanitarium. Yeah, this is the sanitarium.
Alright, the third one, this is when we were actually inadvertently, there's a couple of these I inadvertently cut out of the original video because as I was going along trying to cut time, I was more worried about what was visually interesting. So I actually inadvertently cut this one and the next one out of the original video. This is just right before we walk into the room that's marked private, where the deer was singing. You'll hear, it sounds like maybe a woman saying, "Yep."
Where are you going?
Film.
Oh, is this it? Yeah, you can film, but film.
Alright, now this next one's kind of creepy. In the back part of the sanitarium, of course, like I said, they have it decorated up for Halloween. And they've got a girl standing there that kind of looks like the girl from The Ring. And as we walk by here, we're kind of clowning around a little bit, and as we walk by, I can't quite make out what it's saying, but it sounds like there's a female voice just as I walk past the Ring girl. So you can kind of take a listen, maybe you can figure out what it's saying.
Don't step on nothing that will make her drunk. We go that way? We go that way. We go that way. We go that way. We go that way.
Alright, now this next one is in the back room, the room that had the x-rays on the wall. What the Paranormal, Amy and Lainey, I don't know what to call them on here, but Amy and Lainey from What the Paranormal, they actually picked up the name Tom in this back room. Now this is right after they picked up Tom. I didn't pick up Tom, but this would have been right after they heard the word Tom on their audio. This is very strange. And if you watch the full video, you'll hear us talk about how quiet it is back there. And it was just deathly silent back there. And I'm only going to play this, I'm going to play the first video and then the first clip, and then I'll play like the loudest part of it. I'm going to play a few more seconds of it a couple of times. It sounds to me like an adding machine. And if you've ever known anybody that does that for a living, like if they're a banker or an accountant or something, somebody that does it all the time, it's almost like a musical instrument. You know, me on an adding machine, I'm pecking and then okay, and then let me stop and find out what else I got to, and then they hit this and make sure I'm hitting the right buttons. Somebody that does it all the time, they just go on it. That's what this sounds like to me. It sounds like an adding machine. So you can give a listen to it and see what you think.
Are you a boy or a girl?
Okay, now this last video clip, it's fairly faint, which I guess I should have mentioned. You may need some headphones for some of these. It's in that when we had worked our way back around, we were only a couple of minutes before leaving. It was right before Lainey did the EVP session by herself in there. And me and Amy heard the sound that did not pick up on the audio. And we mention it, and as I'm turning back around where Amy and Lainey are, it's pretty faint and not sure what it's saying. It might be a swear. I'm not really sure. Like I say, we'll give it a listen. Like I say, I'll play it 3 times. That little part that where I heard it.
What is that?
I don't know. I heard a little,
I did too.
like a.
That's what I heard. Oh no, right. I'm just kidding. That's me, Jason.
That's Jason. Yeah.
Remember Fred versus Jason? He was in Freddy's world. I don't know. Am I sitting in your chair? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, now these last 6 are just voice recordings. This is what we got on. I left the voice recorder in the front room in the Parker house, and also in the private, the room marked private, and the sanitarium part. This is sounds like maybe a couple of voices here. This is fairly early on. I think we had just left the room. But you hear a couple of little faint voices, and then there's like almost like somebody saying a chew or something like that. But like I say, with these, I'll just play the voice recordings 3 times. Alright, this next one is, we had been gone for a good little while. This is probably about 3 or 4 minutes after that last one, so we had been gone from the room for 4 or 5 minutes at this point. And you hear somebody, sound like somebody walking around. Maybe even moving some stuff or something like that, but nobody had come in. Like I say, we were gone from the room for a good while. You didn't hear anybody come in or anything, and you just heard this moving around going on in the room. Alright, this next one is, okay, I'm only going to play it a couple of times. And if you've got your volume up way high, you might want to turn it down. Maybe you can take the headphones off for a second. This is kind of loud. If you have trouble hearing this one, then you need to get your ears checked. There were a couple of actors there. Of course, they're getting ready for the Halloween haunted house, and there were a couple of the actors that were there on the property getting ready for that. And they had come into the building later on, and we actually ran into them as we were coming back out. I thought maybe this was them coming into the building, and it's not. It's an isolated sound. Just all of a sudden, it sounds like the door just kind of moving and slamming. This last one is, or this last one from this room. Not really sure what this noise is. I put it down as a breath, but I'm really not sure what this is. Maybe almost sounds like some kind of machine. And actually, as I was putting this together, I ended up playing it 4 times. But anyway, this is just a noise that picked up in the room. All right, and this last one, again, you're probably not going to need your headphones. It's not as, I don't think it's as loud as that other one, but you'll hear, I think Lainey may be talking. We're not terribly far away, as I think we were coming back through the house. It's really close to the end. But this is with the recorder in that that maroon marked private outside near where the deer head was singing. Like I say, you'll hear us kind of moving back through the house. This noise was pretty obviously coming from inside the room. I don't know if it's something that fell over, something that just got moved, or what it was, but it's pretty obvious. Alright, that's all we have for this investigation. It was a pretty fun one. I have to admit, when we first got there, and I think me and Amy talked about this, I think she was thinking the same thing. When we first got there, we were kind of thinking, now, I don't know, this one might be a dud. But it ended up being a pretty decent investigation. We had a lot of fun with it, and actually picked up quite a few interesting little bits. We'll go out again. Like I say, it's getting up to the point in time that I'm really busy around Christmas. I got to work my plug in here. Facebook.com/NellySon. That's my business, and Nelly Son News and Collectibles. And like I say, Christmas, as it gets closer to Christmas, I get busier and busier. But I think we'll be able to squeeze in at least one more here sometime soon. We're looking into a couple of things. I'd love to go back to Concho too, and since we've been once and we found a couple of what I'll refer to as hot areas, if we could just go back and do those certain areas, maybe spend a little more time in one spot, I'd love to go back and see if we can get some more EVPs. But like I say, I'll go out with them again sometime, and of course I'll have other content on the way. But I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate the comments and the kind words, and like I say, I'm not trying to make $1 million off of this or anything. It's just something to pass the time and help promote my business. But I'm really I'm glad people are enjoying it. I appreciate the comments, and we'll come out with some more stuff for you. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time.